Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we're going to be talking Season 5, Episode 7, The Gift. And joining me today, as always, is Johnny B. Crazy, aka Johnny B. Baelish, aka hashtag Too Sexy. How are you doing this evening?
Hashtag getting too familiar, Sasa. No, I'm kidding. I'm doing okay. I hope you're doing well today. We have a gift from Game of Thrones, if you want to call it that, to talk about. Yay. Um, but this should be fun. We are closing in on the final stretch here. We just got to get through a couple of episodes that aren't that pleasant. Even though this one's kind of okay. And then we'll get to see ghosts, so that helps.
Yeah, this episode it's a good one for what it is. It's our first episode with Miguel as director, and we know from episodes forward of how good of a director he is, including next episode, Hardhome. But yeah, we get a pretty decent episode compared to the events of the last episode, which if you haven't already, check out episodes 5 and 6. I put them together for your viewing pleasure. So we're gonna kind of go by location this time, just so yeah.
Pleasure is a relative term.
We're gonna go by location this time, just so we can continue our thoughts about certain locations and certain storylines, and we're not interrupted when it moves every time. So we'll start off at Castle Black, because this is where the episode starts, and it's John leaving for Hardhome with Tormund. I
hope you don't have to use that dragon glass, John. It's pretty quick. We get the beady eyes. Tormund's just really intense. I think he wants to bang John. I'm not sure. He kind of looks like it. He's giving him the same look he gives Brienne later. So, I mean, I don't know. They'd be like, well, fortunately, Tormund isn't into small pricks, so he's not going to really talk to John too much. But
yeah.
I think it's funny. But go ahead.
Yeah, if only Tormund. If only Tormund was swung that way, that like maybe he would have been into Jon Snow. You never know.
He supposedly fucked a bear. So what does it matter if man, woman, just needs to be warm, I guess, to Tormund.
Well, Tormund does say when they go beyond the wall is walking's better. What is it? Walking's better. Walking's good, fighting's better, and then fracking is best. So
you don't have to do.
Yeah. And John's like
confirmed. Gendry is the bitch in prison.
Yeah, Gendry is someone's prison bitch. But yeah, it. So I bet there had to have been weird things going on, but yeah. John leaves Alistair Thorne in charge, which
it's cold up north. You gotta warm up somehow. It'd be like Brokeback Mountain, be like Frostfang Suckle or something.
Oh Jesus.
Nothing wrong with it. I just think it's funny to talk about, especially when it's John and Tormund. Look at him. Tormund is John's Brienne.
Yeah. And also in this we see that Alistair Thorne has been left in charge, which really and truly sows the final seeds for the mutiny that comes in.
What did you say? Sow the final beads?
No, sows the final seeds for
It does have seeds for eyes too, so that makes sense.
For the mutiny of John and the assassination of John, if you want to call it that.
Johnny be silly, and I guess you know what? Tell me in the comments which personality you like best: intellectual Johnny be silly, or Johnny be Baelish. Or how much of a combination of all three do you want?
Or there's also always Johnny B. Monotone. You can't forget about that one.
Nobody wants Johnny B. Monotone. So, this is such a great scene here. Bueller.
You gotta love Johnny B. Monotone sometimes.
Yeah, when you need to be sleeping.
But Alistair Thorne is left in charge, and he's just given all the crazy looks. And then John says one of his, like, you can say his quote unquote final conversation, even though we know this is not John's final conversation.
Look at Tormund. Sam better not touch my woman.
Yeah. And Sam gives him the dragon glass. So there could be a thing of John giving maybe
Sam giving John protection from behind the wall. Holy shit. Oh, the double entendres in this episode.
Need this. But then, obviously, in the next episode, John forgets it, so you could say that's a little...
I mean, yeah, I found this mystical dragon glass in, like, season 2, or the end of season 1, I can't remember.
It's in season 2.
It's been carrying around with us the whole time, and John just loses the bag like that. Yeah. Just to it gone. Like, it's so funny. Like, this whole bag of dragon glass almost was purposeless. Sam could have just took the one dragon glass dagger with him and been fine. I guess, Mira and Jojen got their dragon glass, but
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we can talk more about the dragon glass going bye-bye next episode. But John just it's like, I'll take it, and then nothing happened. The next, with this, it's just him saying goodbye to Alistair, and then we see Sam treating Maester Aemon as he is in his final episode and his final days. But he's talking about someone very important in the scene. Johnny, who is he talking about?
Yeah, it's just wearing down where, Aegon V, his brother, Aegon the Unlikely, or Half a Peasant, as it was called sometimes. The Tales of Sir Duncan Egg. That was his brother. Aemon went to the Night's Watch when Aegon V sent Brendan Rivers to the Night's Watch. Aemon could have been king, right, as we all know. But he turned it down, maybe for the love of a woman. We may never know. He supposedly was Shayna or Shayra. I think it's Shayna Targaryen.
Maybe.
Which was ended up being and oh goodness, maybe it was Beth of Blackwood.
We thought it was Beth of Blackwood.
Yeah, I think it's Beth of Blackwood
that he might have been in love with, because she ended up marrying Egg.
I've been reading so much that I get them confused every now and then, but it could be Beth of Black. I think we're probably right on the Beth of Blackwood part. And it was always thought that her son wasn't hers. This is kind of how we end up getting to the Blackfire rebellions as well. So, yeah, there's a lot there, but this is a very sad, tender moment, and it makes you wonder why Maester Aemon went to the wall too. Was it to protect Egg, to make sure Brendan Rivers actually did what he said? Because Brendan Rivers was sent with 200 of his loyal, basically, some of them being his little birds. They were like his archers. I can't remember what they were called. I can't remember. They have a cool name. But it was like his ravens, feathers. I can't remember. Whatever. But
okay.
It makes you wonder if that's why Maester Aemon went to the wall, to make sure that Brenda Rivers did, because he was sent to the wall because he had cut off Aenys Blackfire's head. which was Damon Blackfire's grandson or son, but I think it was his grandson or his fourth son. I can't remember. Goodness gracious, there's so many damn ones, but it's pretty cool when you think about it and how he ended up at the wall. Because the tragedy at Summer Hall, that's how Eamon was lost and killed, and then had to go through everything with Rhaegar. So, Maester Aemon's seen a lot.
Maester Aemon has seen a lot of family members come and go, and in this it's because baby Sam is cooing and such that he thinks that that's egg on egg, which is just kind of a disassociation memory almost, but association memory at the same time. But yeah, he kind of goes through this whole process in a couple scenes of just remembering that he's actually old when he's dying. And the next scene that we get with them specifically is when it's Maester Aemon's kind of last actual moments, and he's dying. He's like, in a matter of minutes, he has died, and Gilly's like, just prepare for.
I think it's been a little bit, because wasn't it daylight outside before?
So, but
you know how time is.
Yeah, so it's probably been a couple hours. And she's like, prepare for the speech you're gonna have to give tomorrow. And it doesn't take that long. It's only a few minutes, and he's gone. But before, his last lines are, "I dreamed that I was old." So if that tells you anything, it's yeah.
Well, I mean, one thing he too says before he goes is he warns Gilly to leave, get that baby away from the wall before the winter and the White Walkers come.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's it's so hard to watch.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. You know.
I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, it does. We see the funeral happening, and it's just a nice, simple, but apt words for this great man.
Yeah. Sam talks about how his name was Aemon Targaryen, came from Western King's Landing. A dozen Lord Commanders came and went while Aemon was their maester, which is crazy to think about. Like, a dozen people were in charge when he was their maester. Like, it's nuts. And yeah, he, according to the wiki, was 104 in the show when he passes away. It's different than in the books, I think, because according to the wiki in the
books, he's in Bravos. Yeah. Sam actually meets with Cat of the Canals, who is Arya. Never even knows it. It's pretty cool. And then who does she sing? She kills the singer. What's it? It's not. Is it start with a D?
Probably. I don't remember that one part of all of those.
Well, that's why she gets not her side taken, but that's what happens sooner than later. It's all acolytes from the House of Black and White have their side taken, but don't get me on a rant.
I'll try not. And the end of this is Alistair Thorne saying to Sam that he goes, "You're losing all your friends, Tarly." It's like, yeah, he's lost Gior Mormont, dead.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Maester Aemon, dead. John, his death is wavering every 5 minutes almost, it seems, because he comes to go away. He comes to go away. Like, Pip is dead.
Hashtag praising.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's sad to watch this. Um, and then the next time we see the North is kind of the last time we're in, especially at Castle Black, which is Gilly and Sam specific. So,
Yeah.
So with this, it's Gilly gets kind of attacked by two brothers of the Night's Watch, and Sam and Ghost protect her. And then stuff happens afterwards. I kind of half expected that this would be a scene to come about with her being there. It was too peachy keen, if that's the right term, with her being there, and nothing had happened for all of these episodes. Like, they had to kind of put something in there. They obviously could not put in a rape scene right after having a rape scene in the last episode. So they did it tastefully enough, but you still felt that this is just wrong, that this shouldn't happen. And then Sam standing up for his lady, and Ghost being backup is just awesome, because Ghost is like, this is the first time we've seen Ghost since episode 4, when there was the mutiny at Craster's. So yeah, it's I think it was episode 4.
I didn't realize I was unmuted the whole time. Sorry, Sasa. Over here making noise, breathing into the microphone.
It's okay. But yeah, we don't see Ghost much more after this, so.
No, just a gratuitous ghost scene. This comes, after Eamon warns her, and this reaffirms that Sam needs to get her the hell out of there, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Sam's eyes. And it's just sweet, Sam standing up and, having that courage. He has to be afraid. You can only be brave when you're afraid. And, well, I mean, he's brave. Even if you know you can't win and you still try to fight, that's definitely brave. You never know. He may slip down and hurt him. But at this time, he didn't win. And they don't believe he killed a White Walker. To their detriment.
No.
But it is what it is. Sam takes that licking and keeps on ticking, And he gets a prize for it later.
Yeah.
He gets some loving.
And yeah, he gets some special time with Gilly, which a lot of people, if I remember, were like, if you were about to be assaulted, why would you want to do that? Personally, I don't know, because I've never, thank God, had that experience. But I can see that why that can be kind of considered a little sketchy. But hey, she wants to do what she wants to do. So, not going to judge her for it. But Sam, he finally gets to experience that moment in life.
He's been talking about it since season 1, so.
Yeah, with his lady love. So that's kind of where we end in Castle Black. So we'll have to go.
Let's go see Ramsey and Reek, our favorite characters.
Yeah, so we'll have to jump back a little bit in the episode where we catch up with Sansa and Reek, and she's explaining how she doesn't get any time alone at night, but and Rick's like, I don't want to hear this. Basically, it's really difficult to kind of watch this again, because it's her coming out of the experience of the last episode. Also, you can see that she has a lot of bruises and cuts, which is not the best thing. So if she has bruises and cuts on her arms, imagine anything else that could be like that.
Stop imagining that. He needed
no,
to
it's
have her
just
make
like
a baby, so she may be okay. Don't think the worst. It could be bad, but don't read the worst into it. I'm not saying like Ramsey's awesome, but let's just try to think maybe he didn't. Okay,
no,
makes me
there's
feel better anyway.
it's just that there's probably more that has went because it's never obviously explicitly explained. But she's like, yeah, she did worse things to me than you can kind of imagine. So it's just, oof. But
It is awful. And Reek just reverting back to I can't. There's nothing I can do. Just listen to him. Just obey him, and he'll be nice to you. Yeah, he'll let you live.
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to really even. Oh, sorry. I think I did. A robot
you dropped.
drop
Or,
drop. But um, I don't know what else.
oh,
Oh yeah, but Sansa's like, come on, you got to go light the candle for me. And I drop again.
you sped up all of a sudden. It was weird.
Sansa basically says, please, can you go put the candle for me? For my dead brothers, the brothers that you murdered, please do this for me. And he's just like, I can't. And basically kind of reluctantly agrees here. And you can see he's fighting with his nature. It's good acting, but I don't know how much you can say about the scene, right?
Yeah, it's he really is playing the Theon character very well in this, like a person who's is balancing with their mental state where they just don't know, but especially also being on the opposite side of what was happening in the last episode with the person that you're talking to. It's like that has to be terrifying in itself too, as well. Um, so yeah, it's difficult, and then his plans are spoiled. I in the coming part, but yeah, we see Brienne look out the tower.
I mean, she is watching grass grow, but the grass can't grow when it's snowing, so she's having issues, right?
Yeah, his plans are.
But Theon doesn't even go up the tower, I don't think. He just goes straight to Ramsay, doesn't he?
No, he goes up the tower, and Ramsay's sitting in the tower. That's fine. Because he goes all the way up with the candle. He's going to go up.
Yeah, it says
Um,
here's in Ramsay's room, but I don't know. We'll see.
maybe.
Because I think he just doesn't do it out of fear. Because if you see there, if Ramsay was in there, there might be a light in there, right? So he's going to have a candle or something lit. So if Ramsay's in there, I guess he would have a fire.
Maybe.
I'm not sure, but I
I
think he just didn't go there at all. Because he's a little biatch at this point.
I think we're maybe, yeah, I think that's what it is. I think we're maybe misled to think that he's actually going there, but it's actually.
Yeah.
And, um, minutes. And we see the second part is her finally out of her room.
My lovely wife.
And she sees Bolton family traditions with playing people alive, but in that case, the old lady had passed away before that point. But they also talk about changes in the north, so too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing I really wanted to happen is, and this is just Ramsay playing more games, telling her everything that he's done, kind of just playing his power in every sense of the word, walking her around her home like she's a guest there, and I just wanted her to stab him in the temple with his corkscrew the whole time. Honestly, I thought the scene's pretty good because Ian Rowan, just a great actor in general. Uh, Makes you love to hate him. makes you wonder if this has kind of spoiled him for any other acting jobs as well, because it just like I've seen him try to play a nice guy one time, and it just doesn't seemingly work. Not anymore. I just when I look at him, I see Ramsey, and it kind of goes the same thing with what happened to Jack Gleason. Everybody's gonna see Joffrey every time they see him. So if he just takes a hiatus for a little bit and comes back, people will forget. That can be a problem for some people with these iconic roles. They seemingly can't get out of them, especially the ones with these exaggerated character flaws and these just completely just very memorable characters. It's like John Snow. Can you imagine Kit Harington playing an evil person now in anything? Like a really truly maniacal person. Could he do that now, right?
Yeah.
Would it be convincing?
It's because I guess a lot of actors, especially when they're in a big series like this show is, they're very typecast after. Like, they feel like almost a lot of them are almost typecast afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
Jack Gleason, if he was to ever continue his acting career, I think he pretty much retired after this, because he would just get stuff thrown at him.
He's got enough fame. He get a cow pie thrown at him in the road.
Yeah, I think he kind of retired from acting, even though he was like 18, maybe 16, 17 when he retired from acting. But yeah, I think but it can be to your benefit or to your detriment. Like, yeah, for a lot of these people, they'll be typecast as the types of characters that they played in this show. But hey, he could have technically a leg up. Like when he was cast to play characters like with even especially with in a mini series thing where it was like a 1 episode arc of him playing Hitler. So
I mean, but exactly Hitler. But see, Sansa or Sophie Turner pretty much can play anything. We've seen her play dark characters. We've seen her play light characters. In a sense, Macy Williams still can pull it off, and it may just be range, but I think when a character is this iconic, and I'm not saying Sansa's not iconic, but Ramsay Bolton will be remembered forever for things he's done.
yeah.
Jon Snow may or may not be, but everybody loves him so much that they just see him as this doughy-eyed sweetheart. There's just certain things, and it's weird what makes it. Sansa has so many things going for her, but the way her character is so malleable, and she's so adaptable that kind of gives her freedom to be adaptable in things afterwards as well. I think it's just kind of maybe how the character's built. And it's almost not good if you act the part too well. Even though Peter Baelish, of all people, I see him in everything. He tends to do good as just all different types of people, but still has the same accent and every damn thing if you see him. Oh my God.
Yes, he does. Yeah, I think it's predominant with like the younger cast members, not younger and actors in this, is that we only really majority of them, their first biggest role is this show. So to see them kind of go beyond this will be a good thing. But like with the established actors that we have on this show, we already know them from such different backgrounds of characters that it's kind of easy to kind of automatically disassociate them. So it'll be interesting. Take a shot. Once this show has ended, where these careers end up. But going back to this scene quickly, it's just, John has been declared Lord Commander, and everybody now knows this. And since it's like, Bruce Bolton, when Bruce Bolton dies, I don't think you're going to be the named Lord to Winterfell. It'll probably be your baby brother, if it is a baby brother. And that just sets him off. And like we talked about before, it's probably the reason why season 6 episode 2 happens. So
come on, Sansa pulled a little finger. Very good, Sansa. To learn Very well. I'm coming for you, Sansa. And we do see Littlefinger is coming for her. And he does make a concerted effort to try to save her. And it ends up, I guess, saving her, even though she kind of saves herself. But she does use Littlefinger. But right here, she pulls the Littlefinger, I think, puts that seed in his brain. Because if you remember last episode, to your point, Roose reassured Ramsay, reassured him in his position, let him know that that baby, he's still his firstborn. Um, and I still think Roose would stick with that, but Ramsay's so paranoid that this is just perfect. She reads him like a book, and we may see this in season 8. She may whisper something, say something to Dany that just,
Sets her off.
sows a little seed. Or she could do it to someone else that we have yet to know. She will get to meet Cersei face to face again, and it won't be as a prisoner, I don't think.
What if we can talk about this in another video? I'll plant this seed for you, ha ha ha. But what if the whole Winterfell is yours, your grace thing could be one of those plants of seeds that she puts in people's heads? Because Winterfell's technically not John's, it's hers. Because she is the last. Well, she was
It
the
depends
last.
how much she knows, and she assumingly would know and know that Winterfell is hers if Bran has told her. But maybe Bran may be waiting to tell John before he tells anyone else. I don't know how that's going to work. It'd be fun to figure out whether she knows. Because her concerned look when the dragons get there, it makes perfect sense. I mean, she doesn't seem like she's pissed, but she doesn't seem like she's overjoyed. Like a normal adult, she's like, fuck. We got 2 nuclear bombs here, basically.
Man, it's not good. And they're going to burn all the food. And yeah, the old lady, I'm not going to pay into it because I know don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, the old lady from the last episode's now dead. So yeah, the next scene sequence we get is Stannis and them preparing for the big fight. And Mel talks about King's blood and kind of using Shireen. Sowing the seeds of using Shireen. So I know you don't like this very much, but how did you feel that this plays out before ultimately episode 9?
Well, I mean, let's see. Davos is basically counting. Well, wants Stannis to go back to Castle Black, because this isn't good for anyone. People are miserable. People are starving. I'm sure frostbite has gotten many of folks already. I'm sure people have died. Once he leaves, Melisandre just gets in his ear. It's like, can't we just have a leech? No. Need the king's blood. And this is... Stannis just pushed to a point right here, okay? Mm-hmm. This is by no ways... in any way do I empathize with Stannis, or I can say this is why he made this decision. If he goes back to Winterfell, he's possibly gonna have to stay there for the rest of the winter, which makes no sense because Jon came down just fine. Whatever, we'll talk about that later. This is what Stannis is thinking though. He's afraid that winter will come. They don't have the weather like we do. And you never know. A lot of times you'll have these false springs or false winter, and you never can tell. He doesn't want to take that chance, and he's so sure of his victory. He's so sure of Melisandre's power that he's going to do it reluctantly to save the world in his eyes, but also to be king. Now, how much does being king have to do with this? Is the question, really. I'd say it has a good bit to do with it, but also death marches on the wall. So And Stannis believes about the White Walkers. He believed Jon. He believes Sam. So I'd say it's about 50-50, right? Save the world and selfish motivations. It doesn't, it's not an excuse.
Well,
But I see the reason, unfortunately.
well, sometimes, what is it? Sometimes you have to make sacrifices that aren't necessarily the best decision. We've seen that with Dany herself. Like, she's made decisions that have negatively, down the line, kind of affected how she could rule or she does rule. Um, like, with the whole killing of Massador, starts the influx of everybody else just coming after her, and the sun, and the harpy whole situation. Like, stuff that you do sometimes comes back to bite you. And even though Stannis obviously doesn't make this decision to kill Shireen yet, it's that seed that's planted that, yes, you don't have a leech, but you have your daughter, and something else will happen with that. But Mel, she just plays this so good, and she plays him so well at the same time. We'll have to, and with that whole thing, she obviously doesn't play up any shadow babies, but yeah, if only, like, she got, instead of that Stannis, like, instead of the whole thing, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm rambling.
If Jon would have just banged her, Shireen would have never died.
That's what I think that was what I was trying to get at.
It's messed up, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. But that she could have got a shadow baby out of that. I know that much.
With the face of Jon Snow. But yeah, she's just a nutso. But
they end up in Dorne. The bad pussy's locked up, and so is the bad dickhead, Bronn. But it's kind of. I'll get right into it. Marcella's in love,
yeah,
and if you can hear the pitter patter of Franco's feet, that's what Marcella's heart is like, just fluttering for Tristane. Young love. And how can Jaime not respect that? For he has known it all of his life. Here I go with my quick advice and fire voice. But, no, it's really just a good scene. It's great to see how well Marcella's turned out, how good of a person she is. Other than that, it's not much to it. Other than Jaime getting to really actually reflect and have time with his daughter, which never happens. So it's a good part about it. And then I'll just go ahead and tell you what happens later with Bronn. Of course, is it what venom is this? I can't remember now.
It's the Long Farewell.
The Long Farewell. That's it. And she keeps asking about the cut. Is this Nymeria?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, Obara, Nymeria, Obara, Nymeria, and
Tyene.
Tyene. That might be Tyene.
I think it's Tyene. But
I think that's Tyene. Either way, it's a constant struggle. She's very vain, and she basically just wants some attention to be able to give him.
yeah, Tyene. Yes, it's Tyene.
I mean, maybe she likes him, but this scene has no bearing on anything that happens throughout the rest. The only thing that this scene shows is that Marcella can get killed later. That's about it. It just shows what the poison does. That's it. That's all this scene is. That and boobs. Mm-hmm. And Jerome Flynn singing, which is fine.
Yeah. Just my kind of quick thoughts on this is, like, it's cute that Marcella gets to talk about her, like, the one person that she's able to love, which is Prince Tristane. And she's like, I love him. And even Jamie's just kind of like, whoa, but he can't act like so protective because, you have to play the facade of Uncle Jamie. Hashtag fumble. But yeah, it's just a nice scene between those two. And then with this, it's just I guess it's HBO's way of just showing us boobs. Because that's like in the quota. I guess HBO has to hit a quota and they have to show boobs every episode or every other episode. Or else why is it HBO programming? And yeah, Jerome Flynn having to sing. I guess it's in his contract that he has to sing almost every episode he's in. But yeah, that's Dorn for you. It's pretty boring. It doesn't really get more interesting as we progress later on, but it's Dorn.
Nope. Well, they do have an antidote that works very quickly, which is another thing. It just kind of basically shows how the poison works here.
Mm-hmm.
And setting up for later, and I guess coming off the heels of the Marcella scene, it's foreshadowing. I'm not gonna say it's like the shittiest scene ever because there's a point to it. It's just as far as Game of Thrones goes, it's not what you want.
No.
Not what we expect.
No. And exactly. So the next scene we'll get is King's Landing and Olenna talking to the High Sparrow. This is just funny to watch these two just duke it out. Like Olenna is like, how did the gods how do you receive the gods' demands? By raven or horse or something along those lines? But he says, when the many rise up against a few, what will happen to this world, or something like that, which is ominous. But those are just two of the not funny quotes, but those are two important kind of quotes that we get from the scene. And just Olenna just continues to be Olenna, which is just sarcastic and just overall awesome.
Yeah, the High Sparrow and the Queen of Thorns. I'm both coming with the cool names. And would you get off your knees? Don't you know you're supposed to stand when you talk to a lady? She starts to bribe him. She just, what do you want? Well, he wants justice in the eyes of God. Or God, the gods, however you want to say it. Because you could say the gods, but it's one God, and 7 make up one God, so whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this just kind of shows that this is what the small fuck are thinking. He is not just thinking of a religion. He's thinking of overthrowing everything and remaking everything anew in the image of the 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wants to remake the world. And he's old. That's not a slight against him, but they kind of bond over old age here. Yeah. And this also gives him ammunition. It makes him more powerful that he's older. Because you're close to death anyway. Why not do something crazy as shit before you go? And it's not crazy in his eyes, but you know what I mean. You might as well go for it. Mm-hmm. What's the worst that could happen? You die? It's just he has many good points here, and that's why you can see the fear in Olenna's eyes. She understands how bad of a situation this is. And I'll shut the hell up now, like Olenna told me
to. Well, you can continue talking, because the next scene is she receives a letter from you, actually.
Olenna, will you meet me in my torn up brothel? I swear, I didn't mean for us to meet here. Yes, you did. Whatever, you know me too well, Olenna. Please, lay down. Can I give you a hug? Spiced, honeyed wine. Put some cinnamon in it. Heat it over a kettle. Hello. Oh, my favorite chair. I'm sorry, I can't even do a good Baelish right now, but we'll get to see how upset he is over his torn up brothel. This probably makes him more mad than anything in the world. And this is Peter Baelish pissed off. It's kind of funny to see Peter Baelish pissed off. That's how you know someone is a serial killer, is when they're pissed off and they still got the dead eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, how's it going? Everything's great here.
Yeah, and with Elena in this, she's like, we murdered a king. So this is our first like admission that there was not just Elena involved, but there was more than one conspirator in this. Obviously, like confirmed. Besides the whole, I made the necklace for you, thing with Baelish. So it's the confirmation that they worked together. Obviously, it's just just so awesome, but. Yeah, Baelish sees the damage that has been caused to his establishment, and he don't like ye. Uh, and and what does Elena call this? She calls it a broken, a broken little flesh market. That's what she calls.
Yeah, your broken little flesh market. It's no, it's funny. She is not happy about having to be there, but all the same, she gets her business over with and done.
And she also says, if I'm to die in this suspicious place, there'll be people after you. So she even threatens that. She's like, yeah, there'll be people after you if I'm to die in this suspicious place or in a suspicious manner.
Yeah, she has no mistake about who Littlefinger is.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And she's just awesome. You and Elena got to share a scene together by yourself. It's just awesome.
Elena, is there nothing I can do? Will you give me them digits? I want your phone number.
Yeah.
Don't accidentally give me Loris's. I can't even speak right now because it's so. Don't give me Loris's phone number. Elena, I love you as much as I love your mother. Oh, wait, wrong woman. Whoopsie.
Yeah. So now we can go back again in the episode to Tommen. So Tommen kind of reeling after his wife has been put in jail to Mommy Dearest. And
I would do anything, Mommy.
What?
I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. I mean, Cersei empathizes with him, but knows that this is. I mean, how could you love her? But it's not. It can't tell her that. All she can do is try to make it look like that she can make everything okay and make it better. And she thinks she has control right here. This is exactly where she wants Tommen, like putty in her hands. Not to say she doesn't love him. She does this because she loves him and wants him to be right there and not get away from her. Joffrey's already died. The prophecy is starting to come true. Marcella's gone. She's just waiting for Marcella to die. So even right now, basically Tommen's all she has. And I can't blame her, the lioness that she is. Go ahead.
Yeah, she's mother cub right here, again with her only like surviving cub. She's like a mother lioness with her surviving cub. Sorry, and yeah, she wants to do everything she can to protect Tommen, but kind of keep Marjorie locked in the sept, but kind of keep her safe as well. And it's just a difficult thing because this is like the first time in a long time, if ever, that she has tears in her eyes. Like I don't think she had tears coming from her eyes when Joffrey died.
I'm pretty sure you mean in this instance. She didn't have tears in her eyes when Tommen died. I think these are feigned tears almost. She's an actor first and foremost. I do not think these are. I think these are crocodile tears, no doubt. I did want to talk about something I forgot about earlier. That Littlefinger did say to Olenna, "I'll give you the same thing I gave Cersei," which is Laura. I mean, fucking Lancel fucking Lannister. So I forgot to throw that in there a second ago. But yeah, here it's just Yeah, she's feigning those tears. I really do believe this because she goes back right here and basically gives Marjorie some extra torturing, rubs her nose in the shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know you love it, Fandom Descent.
Yeah. Yeah. She, she's she's a great actor, either on the show and as an actor with her own children. Um, yeah, just a quick scene with Tommen, and then I guess we'll jump to talking about Cersei, because she's the other person in this scene. So she's near the end of this episode. So, hold on. Did I mislabel that? Timestamp? I guess I did.
What?
I guess it. Hold on, I'm talking to myself. I think I mislabeled this timestamp.
Dun dun dun. I mean, basically the next part where Cersei goes and talk to Marjorie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
No.
in Marine?
Yeah, because it ends with Tyrion. It's the next episode that she's.
No, it ends with Cersei getting taken. Go back. Or we can do the Marine spot, but doesn't it end with Cersei getting taken? I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Here we go.
Go back. We'll talk about Marine real quick.
No, we can talk about Cersei because it's right here.
All right.
Because now I finally figured out where it was.
What? So Cersei's coming to gloat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tommen, I'll do anything I can to save your precious love, your queen. Get out of here, you hateful bitch! I kind of love that part. But she's just rubbing it in. And she goes to talk to the High Sparrow to maybe, like, make herself the good guy here. She's setting herself up to make herself look good in Tommen's eyes and make Tommen know that he needs her. That's the thing. He needs her. You know,
mommy.
before this, you have to remember Marjorie was trying to ship her back to freaking Casterly Rock. Mm-hmm. So, can you blame Cersei?
No. Well, especially if you're queen mother and she's just being like, queen mother, queen grandma, like all of this stuff. It's like, yeah, you'd be like Cersei has not got ready to get rid of her title yet as queen. So, like, just doing this and just kind of doing what she has to do, like, right now, it's just like, she just loves it. And like you said, with the High Sparrow, he's like, well, we know secrets about you, and you're going to be punished for them, just like Marjorie. And it's just like, ooh, Cersei get taken. I can only imagine what BBM was thinking the first time he watched this, or Fandom DC the first time he was watching this episode. But that's kind of where we end on this episode, is the Cersei being taken. Kind of.
Yeah, there's not much to it. Then we have the little fighting scene with Jorah and Marine. But she does get taken here, and then that Septa, that she's gonna torture later, basically roughs her up and takes her in. It's not much, like, as far as it is funny though.
Septa.
Yeah, say something. Yes, yes, Mr. Bigglesworth. He needs a hairless cat.
Yeah,
to make his evil empire complete.
Yeah, Septa Unella.
Septa Unella. Septa Umbrella. That's who it is.
Septa Unella or Umbrella.
Who knows?
Yeah. Shame, ding, ding, ding. Shame, ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
I bet all our friends won't stop saying that in real life.
Yeah. The last thing you see before you die. A quick side note on that is that when Lena Headey, she had given birth to her baby, after that episode it came out, the lactation nurse at the hospital was trying to help her along, and she had looked over her shoulder and whispered in her ear, "Shame, shame, shame," and then she's like, I'm sorry," because that whole scene, but it's just she was just like, oh, I can't escape it now. But that was just the one funny tidbit. One that happened.
That is funny. Franco enjoys it.
But if we go back, the scene with Danny and Jorah, basically, Jorah's like, "My Khaleesi," and then Tyrion's go, "I'm Tyrion Lannister." So, obviously we've been waiting for this reveal for about 5 episodes now. It seems, or no, 4 episodes now, it seems. Kind of anticlimactic, but
I mean, a little bit. There's not. Well, first off, it doesn't work the first time. Tyrion just gets to walk away, basically. Jorah gets to live, I guess. He doesn't get his head thrown in Slaver's Bay, so that's one thing. He's got the grayscale that she doesn't know, and the one thing she doesn't want to do is what she finds. Now, this goes back to Jorah. Is he just gonna die for her? Man, that just seems like he has went through a lot of shit to just die for her, right?
Yeah, it would be a very sad thing if he was to just die for her.
Which happens in Game of Thrones, but yeah, I mean, I can see it, but so many people are seemingly gonna die for someone. I don't think it's gonna all happen like that. They may all die, but I don't know if they're gonna die for someone. Yeah. That makes sense.
It would be sad for him to do all of this stuff, and then he ends up dying in the end. Especially surviving grayscale and then just dying. But
can I say too, right here, she listens to Daario a lot, and Daario does tell hard truths. But he tells the truths of the way the world is now.
We skipped a scene, which is her by herself with Daario, but we can talk about it here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sorry.
Really quick. And he basically tells her that, I don't know, what is it? The rulers are either butchers or they're the meat.
Yeah.
That there's really no middle ground there. And he does take a lot of her advice to heed. I mean, she does take a lot of his advice to heed, but, you know, that's the way the world works now. She's trying to change it, but she needs to use that to her advantage, and she kind of does. And she does reopen the fighting pits of Marine and actually have the big event or whatever later. And this is kind of the reopening of it, but, I mean, she's attending something for the culture, even though she doesn't want to see the barbarity, but she can stare at dragons eating a man alive, and that doesn't bother her. Like, it confuses me.
Yeah, that we talked about that a little bit in the last episode, but yeah, it's very confusing that she can't watch men kill each other, but she can watch her dragons eat people alive. It's a little weird, but it's actually not a little weird. It's a lot of weird. But yeah, with Daario kind of giving his advice, she kind of listens to it, but then also kind of doesn't at the same time. But yeah, it's like I've sworn enemies within and without. So when the enemies from without come knocking, it's like, what am I gonna do? It's like,
well, I mean, this advice too that Daario gives her. When she reopens the fighting pits, he wants her to kill all of the wise masters, basically, just to get rid of the sons of the Harpy, which I guess may be a right thing. But we do see later that the sons of the Harpy are comprised of slaves and masters. It's people who are not happy about having their way of life completely interrupted and thrown in disarray, and no good alternative.
Mm-hmm. No partial government was enacted. And then, yeah, eventually she kind of up and leaves this place and doesn't actually really care about it in season 7. Like, or maybe in season 8 she doesn't actually like care about the city that made her who she kind of is for majority of her character arc, which is really sad. And I feel like they have to bring this back in, even though everybody says we have 0 time. I really feel like they're gonna be just a titch. They have to bring a titch in of Essos, like something with for Arya and something for Daenerys to kind of just round off those storylines, because yes, they ended off decent, but they need a tiny bit extra to kind of just round that out, or else those two kind of ends of their character just kind of looks forced in a sense. But yeah, that's.
I mean, yeah, and then Jorah basically comes out, right? Here's my Khaleesi is out there. For our honorable and noble queen. And comes out there Terminator style. I've got to do this. And it just starts fighting everybody. Basically, showing how badass he is, I guess. But this isn't going to impress Danny, even though it has in the past. So it just confuses me. So much confuses me. And the way Tyrion gets out. Yeah, he was locked up, but why would he be able to run away any easier than a normal man? You know, he was still locked up, I guess, because he wasn't fighting, but
Yeah.
it was, I guess, that had a little more drama to it. You know, is he going to get out in there in time before Danny leaves? And I would argue that maybe he shouldn't have made it before Danny left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took him a lot longer to get to Danny in the books.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he basically got there right before the fighting pits happened. Kind of the same here, but I just, you know, I think it would have been good like that, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Either way, Jorah tries to get it back, and she's just like, you know, he should feel kind of honored she didn't kill him. She'd be like, oh, well, I still got a chance then. That's all he's thinking. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, she's like, get him out of my sight. And he says, Khaleesi, I just need one moment. And then it's Tyrion walking out, and then I brought you a gift. And it's like, yes, my name is Tyrion Lannister. You'd think when this happens that if we didn't have the whole interlude scene between them and the like kind of us watching them get to know one another, that this would have been more of a whoa situation. But it's just like it's like yay, these two people get to meet, but at the same time you're just like, really? Could have been done a little better, but this is just critiquing an episode that I've seen quite a few times now. So.
Yeah. I mean, and as far as the episode goes, hold on just a second. As far as the episode goes itself, it's okay. Like, I would give it a 6.5, and I had something funny to say, but I don't remember now. Maybe Dario Dongos ate my baby or something.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll work. 6.5 Dario Dongos ate my baby. It's okay. You know, like these past 2 episodes have been a lot of filler and a lot of things that are possibly unnecessary for the plot. Even though you could argue the jail cell scene with Bronn, yes, that was kind of necessary for the poison part.
Mm-hmm.
But they can give us more history and lore. They can give us more intrigue, more, what would you call it? Sasa. This
Dramatic.
fantasy aspect, like some more legends going along with what we're seeing here.
Do it like we talked in episode 6. More lore, like background into things like the House of Black and White, and why the pits of marine are so important, besides like just Dara saying, well, I fought in them, they were cool, I got to like get titles and names and stuff like because of it. Like just like why the traditions of marine are so important. Have Denny like kind of get to know more of these things, so like we can kind of get more engrossed in the culture that is these places that aren't necessarily fully established. Stuff like that. It's not that hard to like just to, hey, this is Marinese culture. Hey, this is how exactly the House of Black and White works. Besides just staring and going like all the time, like it could have been done better. And I'd give this episode 6.5 Danny surprised faces, which she doesn't normally have surprised.
It actually looks like she smelled a fart, but whatever.
Maybe
No.
her own.
What are you copying? Are you copying my ratings? I feel like you're
No.
copying my ratings. You
No.
can't take my own ratings. I own a number. I own all numbers, so if I say a number, you can't say the same number because I own numbers, and I also own all kinds of other stuff that can't possibly be owned. No, thank you for having me on, Sasa. Go ahead and let everybody know where to find me on my channel, Johnny Be Crazy. Here, of course, the Cylon Johns. Everything will be linked in the descriptions. They have many fun things coming up, including Nooners of Thrones, the Season 8 after show. Gonna have a pre-show. We got a bunch of just stay tuned. Got so much stuff coming up, it would take me 15 years to name it all. So just stay tuned to our channels.
Yeah,
Sansa, I'll get you. But that's it. Thanks everyone for watching. In the comments below, tell me, does Johnny be Baelish or does Johnny be too sexy?
Yes, you can find me here, and all of my links are in the description. I'm here, or on Johnny's channel, or on Cylon Johns, and also on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, as well as Johnny. So, thank you all so much for watching. The next episode we get to talk about is Season 5, Episode 8, Hardhome, and I'm so excited. So, we'll see you all in that one. Bye! And...
Hi.
What?
Stop being so beautiful. I can't be horny and do this at the same time. You better cut this out.
I did. Or I will.
We'll see about that. Hashtag mistakes. Alright, let's do it. I don't know what I'm going to say or when I'm going to do it or how I'm going to do it, but if it takes me a minute to answer it, take me a minute to get to the mute button. Mm-hmm. Alright?
Mm-hmm. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we are going to be talking Season 5, Episode 8, Hardhome. Joining me today, as always, is Johnny Be Crazy, aka Johnny Be Baelish, and the leader of the hashtag TooSexy Army, and a great, great friend of mine. How are you doing today?
Too Sexy Army. I feel like I'm a White Walker, probably.
You are the Too Sexy Night King version of like the...
That's it. Night King's rocking that bald spot. Pretty awesome. And I think, is this the first time we start off an episode talking about Danny? I know that the episode might not even start like this, but either way.
Yeah, this is...
Can't remember the last time we talked about Danny first.
Yeah, this is where the episode... Danny starts this episode because of the end of the last episode, because we usually end with Danny, but with this episode specifically, we end way up in the north. So I guess I wanted to start with the warmer climate first. But yeah, how are you doing? You just kind of...
I'm okay. Yeah, I was glossing over it. I mean, you know, it's just a normal day. It's nothing special. Glad to be here. How are you?
I'm doing as okay as I can be. It's pretty doing pretty good. Yeah, I can't wait to kind of talk about this episode. So we're gonna do what we did in the previous episode, which will most likely be attached to this one, which is we're going by location / character. It's kind of easier that way. And we'll start with Dany. So pretty much Dany has her first full conversation with Tyrion, and Tyrion talks about Jorah and all of that. So kind of my impression on this scene is Tyrion, it's one of the commanding scenes that Tyrion gets really later on in the series. He doesn't really get too much. After this season, he's kind of treated as more of a background character, like a B level character, and not necessarily an A level character, which kind of sucks. Because now that he's under the umbrella, if you want.
B for background.
Yeah, because he's under the umbrella of Team Dany. She's the focal point of this storyline. So to have him in more or less the background is really not so good. But basically, he gives a story, and I'll let you take it away.
I don't know what you want me to take away. I'm not taking out the trash, though. No. Tyrion kind of gives his spiel here, and mainly almost gives her a little bit of a lecture in a roundabout way about her father and her brother. You know, that's always brought up here. I think mainly because she is definitely a mixture of the two. Like I said, I think last episode club, it's like Dany is the baby of Rhaegar and the Mad King, like, metaphorically, just by how she acts. Not saying she's mad, but she does have a hell of a temper. Rhaegar didn't have a temper like that. Sure, he fought for what he loved and defended his honor, but I think it's good of Dany here to take Tyrion's advice. I believe it was tough for her to let Jorah go. But Tyrion tells the truth, and that's what she needs him for. And to your point, I really do wish this would have played out more. Maybe we'll get more of this in season 8, but I feel like we got a little bit cheated from Tyrion's brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, he is one of the smartest characters that we have on this show, and his just opinions and his thoughts are just put to the back burner because, especially in season 7, Daenerys is like, he's like, you cannot do like what you want to do, and she does it anyway. Like, what he's saying, what he's doing isn't like either coming across on screen or something else is like being a motivation factor for her. But yeah, he talks about how he heard about her from when she was a baby until she was married off to Khal Drogo, and that kind of has a pain point for her, and how she was spied on, and talking about how all of that and her feelings around it. And you can see that this is kind of breaking her, that she's actually sad that this is coming up again. And at the end
Yeah, but she was never really spied on until later. The hired knives thing never really happened. I think it was Viserys just being paranoid, or whoever trying to manipulate them into basically, I don't know. If you're on the run, you could be thinking the hired knives are after you, especially if you've heard stories and tales. And Dany, you know, everybody has heard of Dany's birth, you know, during one of the greatest storms in the century, I believe. And yeah, I don't know. You have a good point there.
Yeah, and basically Tyrion's like, he's in love with you, and then she asks what she should do with him, and Tyrion's like, it's basically your opinion on what you want to do with him. And she removes Jorah from the city once again. So Jorah is now has been kicked out 2 times. We'll see him come back for a third, but who knows what happens after this point. But
It's persistent.
I guess that's the Mormont way, not solemn faces, but just what is it? Allegiant to a point.
Yeah, and she had told Tyrion that I promised to kill him if he ever come back. And he's like, well, the only way I can argue with that logic is you kind of don't want to kill the people who support you. And this goes back to the slave Massador, whose head she had chopped off, and then got hissed at.
Yeah, like you can't chop off your enemy's heads no matter what. And they have this conversation again when they are alone about her father and about who he is. And he talks about the Mad King, and here she goes getting another perspective on her father and who he was. And at the same time, it's almost you're thinking when you're watching the scene of, is she actually like taking in what he's saying as a, you could say, partial third party, because Tyrion's not 100% was on the side of Robert Baratheon and wasn't on the 100% side of the Targaryens. Like he was like in the Lannisters for a long time were like kind of in the middle, if you want to say that, even though Tywin was his hand, but like it's a more of a impartial, not a third party. It's more of an impartial thought on her.
Well, yeah, and even Sir Barristan has talked about the Mad King, but not really went into detail, right?
Mm-hmm. He talked more about Rhaegar than her father.
True.
I believe.
True. Time out. Franco got to run outside.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Oh.
I'm back.
Okay.
All right, so he kind of, even to your point as well, like Barristan talked about Rhaegar, but Tyrion even brings up what's going on. How are you ruling? People have asked her this, and the only one with a real suggestion, which is still kind of funny, is Dario's just kill all the masters, let the slaves. No, you gotta have like a real political thing. I like Dario, but this isn't sound advice from his aspect. Dario, honestly, the way he talked about culture and this and that, he probably should have counseled her against killing Massador as well. And she basically like, well, Dario says this and Dario says that. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of funny. I'll let you go with it for a second.
Yeah, with Tyrion asking about how she rules and how she will rule, is like him trying to analyze her personality almost. And because in the last episode, in The Gift, he was entirely questioning who she is and what her motives are and how she would rule as a queen of the Seven Kingdoms if she has the opportunity. And this is where she says Lannister, Targaryen, Baratheon, Stark, Tyrell, they're all just spokes on a wheel, and then I'm here to break the wheel. But by definition, you sitting on the Iron Throne means that the wheel is not broken. It means that your family is in charge again, which is just the wheel spinning and spinning and spinning. If breaking the wheel entirely is to go against what your ancestor Aegon the Conqueror did, which is to separate all the 7 kingdoms back into 7 kingdoms, and you just rule the Reach, not the Reach, the what is it? Not the Crown Lands. Like that's how it works. Is it just by definition, her sitting on the Iron Throne is not breaking the wheel at all. It's continuing the wheel. And he says also too, like, you could chop off my head if you really want to. But she's like, I still might do that. You haven't given me any reason not to. So could she do that? Like, we're all thinking that there may be a betrayal in season 8. Sorry, she could kill off Tyrion, in some way, especially if he goes against what she wants, and is the only person to maybe tell it to her face that what she's doing is a bad thing.
Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. He won't. There's been a slight change in Dany, especially since they got to Dragonstone. She's gotten very impatient, and Tyrion does not like what he saw. And I would say that it could cause him not to tell her everything. This could be his downfall, but I don't feel like Tyrion getting killed by Dany. It could happen, but it's like, are the Targaryens going to kill all the Lannisters? I'm like, just, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it needs to be a little more complicated than that. Varys, I can definitely see going down, but he might even just get killed, right? He might get killed by a dragon. He might get killed in the crypts. He doesn't necessarily have to make it, but I can see his boy parts being so special as they were when he was a child. Does that mean his blood special? And will we find out something and he may get sacrificed later? I could see something of that nature. I see a few things they've set up that they've lazily set up too, that they could just throw us a curveball in season 8. So it's kind of
yeah. Like, I'm not obviously wishing Tyrion to die in any aspect, but I'm just saying it's like that would be complete shock value. Is if something happens with Tyrion and Daenerys decides to kill one of her advisors. Like, she's never had to do it. She's never had to make the choice to have that done. So it's like Tyrion is very outspoken sometimes, so it could be to his detriment. You never know.
I don't see there being time for his tongue to be taken out. Not in the show, anyway.
No, but
Tyrion be useless without a tongue as well. Like, there would be no point. His character would be done for. He just sits there saying nothing. Another Ill Pain.
It's just sitting in the corner, doing.
I don't know. He already doesn't have a nose. Like, his nose is completely gone in the books. No, he's gonna take everything from him. I mean, he's already a dwarf. He's got basically half a face gone. Whatever. I mean, because they always talk about in the books how his tongue's gonna get him in trouble, get him in trouble. But I still don't. And there's even a part where it says you're gonna get your tongue cut out or whatever, like saying stuff like that. But like, he's gonna be so mutilated by the end if that happens that there will be barely a shell of a Tyrion left. It'd be like Tyrion's character ends on a Reek note.
Yeah.
Sorry for going on a tangent, as I do.
No.
My Khaleesi, I'm still thinking about her. My love will bring her to me. Take your coin back. I want to be the best fighter ever. I will kill your men. I'm sorry, I just got into a weird Jorah tangent.
No. But that's basically what this scene is basically Jorah wants to fight for Daenerys, but as like a free person, or not free person, but like under him, but he wants to fight for Daenerys, which, hey, it's up to you what you want to do, but she's thrown you out 2 times. What's another opportunity? Yeah, this is just a quick scene.
It's like, hey, can I be your slave again? It's like, fuck you, Jorah. Like, this is the how many people this kind of pissed me off. Why are you gonna go back into slavery, right? Like, willingly go into slavery and make this a scene. I don't get it. There's other things he could do than fight and die. But at this point, I don't know that he's necessarily wanting to get back to Dany, right? Maybe he wants to die a glorious death. But if he's good enough, he knows he'll get to see Dany at some point. So there's still a little selfish motivation there.
Yeah.
Still creepy.
I think it's that whole let me fight for her situation. Like, he wants to just still fight for Daenerys, but just not directly for her. Yeah. There's not much to say about that one. So we'll head up across the narrow sea to King's Landing, where we see
Khaleesi. Septa Umbrella.
Yeah, Septa Unella, aka Septa Umbrella, is back. Like she never left. And yeah.
Well, this is a pretty quick scene, right? And I don't know. It's funny. It's not funny, but fun. This is where you start to really feel for Cersei. If you haven't already respected her character by now, which I did, but still, I mean, I can still understand if you don't. But here, you gotta kind of not feel for her, maybe empathize a little bit, right? But she is getting her up and comings, so to speak. And even Qyburn comes in and tells her about the trials of her fornications start to unfold. It's and it's fornication, treason, and incest, right? I think are the charges. And Bobby B's murder at the same time. So she's getting hit with she's getting slapped in the face basically with everything she's done her entire life. So you could literally say what goes around comes around with Cersei. Both directions too, as we say later.
Yeah, like even Septa Unella, confess, and like she just throws the water on the ground and stuff. But yeah, Qyburn's not like, because apparently Tommen is not eating anymore. He's on hunger strike. Poor boy. And yeah, he's not, because his wife is now in jail and his mom's in jail, so he's not doing so well with that. And she just wants to see Tommen and she wants to take care of him, but she can't because she's in jail. And even the king can't even see his mother or his wife while they're in jail, which kind of is weird. That like the king is supposed to be relative supreme ruler, and he can't like do right, or like even at least see his wife or see his mother. Like, this is kind of where Tommen could have done like the I am the king thing and let me go see her, but he doesn't.
Isolated, alone, afraid, cast down from all you hold dear. Oh, I'm getting into the prophecy here. Ha! Sorry, Johnny be mumbling.
Few Seeds sets up Mother's Mercy, which is the finale episode of season 5, where Cersei confesses and she does her walk of atonement, but she stays in there a little longer, which I feel bad. BBM or fandom saying his queen is now in jail, but she gets her revenge in time. It just takes a little bit, but she gets her revenge in time.
Bum, bum, bum.
Arya learning about lying in this with the clams, the oysters, clams, and cockles. So Arya's training. How do you?
Oh, this is fine. I'm pretty sure something similar. She's doing kind of something similar to this in the books. I can't remember if she actually. I think she does. I don't know. She's everywhere. I kind of wish we would have got to see Cat of the Canals. As I stated last time, maybe Eamon and Bravos and her and Sam meeting by happenstance, as it were, in the books would have been very cool. But this was okay. Even, Mace Tyrell getting there later is a little bit different. But the Game of Faces, they kind of are going over their lives here, and she's practicing lying. And it's kind of showing the process, albeit a simplified process of what the Faceless Men training is.
Mm-hmm.
Go. What's a go?
It's just more simplified, but where you easily understand this. And my only kind of like extra thing on it, it's a good scene. But the behind the scenes thing is the actual actor who is eating the oysters was, I believe, vegan or vegetarian. So they had to make a like substitute version for him. It's a good actor out of the lot that even though he was a vegetarian or something, that they were able to make something for him. Then now that there's a person who wages on whether a ship will come back or not, which I didn't, like, I suspected something would happen, but to have it evidently shown is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is in the book from what I remember. I'm getting close to there on the reread. But basically, it's a type of insurance, and he's gonna bet on which person could make it back. If he doesn't think they can't make it back, he won't let them go because he has to cover the cost of the ship or pay for the family. It's kind of almost like a will or a what would you call it, a life insurance policy for sailors.
Yeah, kind of like a life insurance thing.
Well, I mean, it's not. Is it a bad thing? Well, relative to everything else, it's kind of bad. But Arya sees it as bad, and that she's doing this because he's bad, right? And this is where she kind of gets in a little mistake here.
Yeah, she thinks it's bad, but because it's betting on people's lives and whatever. But that's what you do. That's what you're doing, kind of. That's what you're learning, is you're learning to take people's lives at will or not. So, hey, it's hard for her to like really judge this man. Next, we'll go up north to Sansa and her
Sansa,
trials and tribulation.
fantastic, Sansa. I'm coming for you. I'll be there. I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you too.
So we see Lady Stark sitting in her room, and this is where Sansa's shaking Theon and being like, why do Bran and Rickon have to die while you still breathe? And
why do you have to give me whiplash, milady? I'm weak. I'm not Theon. I'm weak.
and Theon admits to the truth, kind of finally, almost, like to Sansa, that they're not dead. He just killed 2 farm boys. But it's, how do you feel about this? Is really one of the last final things that Theon has to go through to kind of break his shell.
Forget about Theon. Hashtag he deserved it. No, it sounds. This is like a little sliver of hope for Sansa. Is more how I see this. Yeah, I guess for me. This doesn't help break Theon out of it more. The fact that he tells the truth just means he lets you know how guilty he feels. Well, I guess when I say that, I guess this could be slightly his transformation, but I see more of it as a sliver of hope for Sansa to hang on to. Because right now, what does she have? Peter Baelish may come back for her, but
Yeah.
other than that, her whole family's supposedly dead. So that'd be good news for me.
Yeah.
Uh, it's in a bad situation that could make your whole day. Even though I'm sure it didn't make her day, but you know what I mean.
Sliver of hope that she has family out there because no one knows about Arya. Really, no one knows about. Well, she knows about John, but she's obviously doesn't like John. Still, or we're led to believe she doesn't really care too much about John. Rob's dead, her mother's dead, her father's dead. So just the fact that her little brothers are alive potentially somewhere somehow, that gives her some hope, like you're saying. But she can't really do anything because they have to be in hiding the entire time. So
Talking about having to we can't go to war, right? We can't meet him in the field because our horses can't get out there. The snow's too high. And Ramsay's like, just give me 20 good men. Sounds a little bit like Bronn. And then the Veil comes and saves them later. So, I don't know. It's kind of funny how that circles around.
yeah, give me 20 good men. That whole scene that plays out, yeah, it just proves that there's that Ramsay is very smart and cunning, and that he knows exactly what he needs to do. So
He really is. It's not the Enrique.
I'm not
It's
there, freak.
it's a funny thing. It's still like Roose trusts him implicitly, and Ramsay, the seeds that Sansa has sown last episode, are beginning to bother Ramsay. Whereas Roose is no wiser to anything at this point. He's already clarified to Ramsay that you'll be my firstborn no matter what, and whatever. You know how Ramsay is. He's always got a plan ahead. He's like a little finger that likes to torture.
A torturous little finger. Hashtag torturous little finger in the comment. Yeah. So this scene kind of leaves us off until the next episode. Next we see Sam and Gilly talking about John to Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's wounds get tended to, huh? We kind of, Gilly. Isn't Gilly a little bit worried here about Tormund? Them going with Tormund. And
no, it's
she thinks they don't stand a chance against the White Walkers, right? Not that Tormund's dangerous, like that Tormund, that's not going to help.
The rest of the wildlings, yeah. And
doesn't matter who the hell goes, you're gonna die.
Yeah, and there's Ollie, who's also doesn't like Tormund, too, as well in this scene. But Sam's like, it's fine.
Well, Ollie comes in and treats Gilly all nice, right? Tormund didn't kill his mama and papa. Yeah. Even though Tormund was there, I guess, technically. But, I mean, I don't know. This right here is just a little mess up, I think. Because Ollie shouldn't be so happy to serve Gilly and Sam. Because Sam is a wildling sympathizer as well, right? He should still have that animosity on his face. That's what I think. But
Yeah, but I guess because Ollie is a steward right now, and Sam's sort of acting maester, if you want to call it that.
nah.
Like I guess he has
Wishes.
to do something, like because there's no one who's a maester yet at at the wall. But I guess it's just a scene to just be just for Sam to say, John always comes back. So, and just to kind of catch us up with those two after the events of their with the last episode with those two. So, yeah, it's a short scene that's done pretty well, because our connecting scene is with John at Hardhome, which I know you did a special on, with The Knight Who Smoked the Laughing Tree.
I don't know nothing about that. No, it's less speaker goodness that will be re-uploaded. But if you can hear it for now, it's good to go check out. Yeah, 600 years ago was the first known disaster at Hardhome. Fires erupting, exploding, and then 300 years later, something similar happens again. It looks like the sun was rising in the north from Hardhome, from the wall the Night's Watch wrote, and now we have another disaster. Here, it's nothing like what happens in the books or what is described to have happened before. In the books, I think Hardhome's going to go a little different. We're going to have some fire and possibly even fireworms. You should go check out that podcast because it's pretty cool. You have definite known woods witches that are at Hardhome, and there's some definite lore there that's going on that may even be some sort of possibly God's eye of the North. But I digress. In the books, what it was is when they go. And John's about to go to Hardhome before he gets killed in the books. And he gets Arthur Yarwick sends, I think it's Arthur Yarwick, or is it Dennis Mallister? Either way, whoever the hell went to Hardhome sends back a letter, and there are dead things in the water, dead things on the land. So the others always show up there in these events, seemingly, and they quench the fire that started. Whatever fire this may be, or whatever you want to speculate on what caused the fire. But, this could be a place where a whole town was like Craster's, and they all sacrificed to the others.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be the significance of Hardhome, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
No, it's entirely possible that there was something like that happening. Because Craster's is much far south than Hardhome, so it's. Hey, I'm not disputing it because anything is possible in the show. But for when we see Hardhome, John arrives with some men, including Tormund, and the Lord of Bones is not happy about it. He's like, "So now you're a prisoner," and it's High Lord of Bones again, by Lord of Bones, and then they meet with the.
Well, I mean, Tormund beats the shit out of Lord of the Bones for getting, fresh with him. Don't get fresh with me, son. And then just bust him real good.
Especially talking about his man, right?
Yeah, don't talk about my man, bro. He may have a tiny pecker, but he's mine. Okay. So, Tormund, they part like butt cheeks, and they walk up to, I guess, the main hovel hut, whatever the main hall. You could call it a hall. I won't be disrespectful. You can fit a giant in there, so it's big enough. One's just chilling. What the fuck you looking at? The Lord said. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so what the fuck you looking at? It's a good scene here. It's basically right. John's just trying to tell everyone how dire this is and what's coming for them, and that they will help them. We know what's coming. How can you help us? They don't trust the crows. These people have been killing them for thousands of years. Why would anything change now? And some people see this. Some people see Tormund as helping. Other people don't really have respect for Tormund because these are a bunch of individual clans that have individual thoughts and even almost different religious beliefs as well. They worship the old gods differently, and they have complete different customs and ways of thinking. So that's why you see like half of them wanting to go with John, half of them like, nah, because you can't really blame them here. This is the people they've been warring with for thousands of years. It's a tough thing. I think it was very well portrayed. What do you think about all this leading up?
Yeah, it's a pretty good parlay, I guess you could call that a parlay. Like John saying like, this is what we have to do. Like, if you come with us, then we'll give you lands to live on. Like, you're not going to be safe up here. I'm Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Whatever I say pretty much goes. And this is where they also introduce the dragon glass. And they're all like kind of slightly confused about it, but they kind of go with it. And they highlight a specific wildling. I think her name is Cassie or something like along those lines. And they're talking about, because one of them mentions my ancestors would hate it if I treated with the wildlings, and it's like
Carsey.
Carsey, sorry.
Don't be sorry. There's 5 million names to remember.
And they're just like, well, it doesn't matter because they're dead. So she really is one of the first people to admit, like, yeah, your ancestors may actually would hate that you're doing this, but they're dead, so it doesn't matter. And yeah, first time we see one. So the actor who played Dongo, all like last season, is the same suit performer who plays one. So
Hashtag Dongo ate my baby.
hashtag Dongo ate my baby. Yeah, we get to see one for the first time because it's good.
Like in the books, it's funny too because John basically hands out all the dragon glass at the Fist of the First Men, so there's really not any left for him to take at Hardhome. I think that's kind of funny how they do that here, and just forget about the whole horn. Where the hell did that thing go too? By the way, just
Sam kept it.
But as in the books, as what happens here, a lot of it just gets lost. In the books, he even gives it to a lot of his friends just for like good luck charms, because he doesn't know what it is. And definitely, in my opinion, Benjamin Stark buried it there. The cloak wasn't too old. Even in the books, Jorah Mormont says it could have been Ben Stark that buried it, because the cloak was still fresh. It wasn't rotted away.
Yeah, not centuries old.
No, and Ghost actually went straight to it. And if you think about cold hands, it would just make sense for him to put it there, the Three-Eyed Raven have him put it there, for John to find, for this to that, blah, 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 Sam to kill the White Walker. There's a whole line you can go down it. It would take us a few hours, but we need to do it one day. It's a good thing.
And yeah, so the next kind of scene after this is loading all the men, women, and children onto boats, which in theory we're like, oh yeah, this is great, they're gonna get majority of the people on the boat, but shit hits the fan quite quickly with this. And yeah, it's just not good. And shout out to 1-1. He's like probably a massive piece of dragon glass is like this big in his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a giant spearhead or something. Here's the whole "what the fuck you looking at?" Dolores getting all the dragon's glass. Oh, you can have that one, bro. You know, it's cool. Don't look at him like that. You make him feel self-conscious. I'd be ill with him too. Look at him.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like, just don't look at me or I stomp you. And here we're hearing, you hear the dogs kind of howling and more of like the snow just coming, and we know that something bad is about to happen, and the whites just show up, and the whole massacre at Hardhome happens. So we don't really see this in the books. It's kind of skipped over, isn't it?
Well, in the books, it happens. It's not skipped over. John's on his way to get there. Don't know. You know, they were gonna send people back because a lot of the ships were lost on their first way there, and then actually slave traders had come before then and tricked the people into getting on and then turned them into slaves later. This kind of goes back with how we think Mel got from Hardhome to Ashai, basically. You know, that she was at Hardhome 600, over a little bit over 300 years ago. And that's kind of where her origins are. Although I could be wrong. But it's, I don't know, it's crazy because there has to be, the only thing there is people right now. But in the books, it seems more than that. You know, the Night King wants to add to his army, right? But is he just going to literally go 1,000 miles out of his way just for a group of people? It depends what your motivation is. So I think there's definitely something at Hardhome we don't know about yet. And we will get it in the books. I'm pretty sure we'll get a first-hand account, maybe even a prologue or an epilogue of someone who is there. Maybe not even a main character. As Not Who Smoked a Laughing Tree, maybe Mother Mole will give us a first-person point of view. That's the wildling elder that, you know, basically took all the rest of the survivors from the Battle of the Wall to Hardhome, basically, for shelter. She basically told everyone, come with me if you want to. I'm going here, and a lot of people went with her. So, I don't know. I kind of can't wait to read the books. And, you know, who knows? We may see Hardhome be significant later. Bran has a flash of something that happens at Hardhome. Or we see Bran looking through the Night King's eyes at Hardhome here. And right here, what you're seeing, you see that, right? That's almost like it's looking through someone's eyes, looking at Jon, and isn't it?
Mm-hmm. The way that the snow is placed and stuff. Yeah, like you said with Bran and Visions of Hardhome, when Bran meets Dolores Ed, he says, "I saw you beyond the wall at like Hardhome." So Bran went to Hardhome and saw stuff that's happened at Hardhome.
Bran's probably the Night King. As much as I don't like it, he's probably the damn Night King. They look just alike too.
Yeah. So he's like, "You've been to the first men I saw you at Hardhome, like all of these other like things." So Bran's seen all of this happen. So it's not surprising that he could potentially be the Night King. That'd be the ultimate twist that we all kind of see coming. But it's
people been saying that for like 4 seasons.
Yeah, to like that we've seen it coming. But to have it confirmed as kind of quote unquote canon, would be interesting.
Well, I mean, the way it happens has to be weird. And we see definitely in the cave, there was a different Night King before. they had a beard. Like, I didn't know the Night King could have a beard, but apparently they can. And this one doesn't. This one looks completely different than the one on Dragonstone carved in the wall. So that goes to everyone out there who has the theory of him being replaced and whatnot. I'm pretty sure y'all are right. I don't claim to really have any theories that no one else does. It's kind of hard, and I would have to look all over the internet to make sure my theory isn't different, isn't the same. Yeah, and I don't really think that. People think of things all the time, and I'll give credit if I can remember who said it. But I'm just coming up with thoughts about the show, and lots of people come to the same conclusions. And of course, all of us people in this great community come up with many different and the same conclusions, and we get there in different ways. So it's very fun as you're going through this. This is a good fight scene too, but we really just see how interested the Night King is in John. I mean, he could have killed him so many times, and it makes you even wonder if he sacrificed the White Walker, right? The one that fought John. He didn't cut him when he could have cut him. He hits him with the butt of the sword instead of the blade of the sword. He lets him get up. It's the only thing is why does he look surprised when John stops it with the Valyrian steel? I don't know. It's hard to say right here. What do you think? Do you think it's like kind of happened on purpose, or was he really trying to kill John? If he was really trying to kill John, why not send more than one of Craster's sons down there? But, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I think it was just because I guess John was surprised that they kind of just made it look like he was surprised as well. So that they were both surprised about this specific steel, because probably that White Walker didn't know, he probably fought traditional steel, like Castle Forge steel, and it just always won. So if there was like a steel that didn't won against him, that would be kind of surprising. And it's also probably a cop-out way for John to have killed one. That's it, in my opinion. It's probably just like, oh, let me make it look like I'm surprised, and then just using like the stun gun effect, almost.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like the White Walker's slow. It was pretty slow, and it wasn't really fast. It was just I don't know, kind of like it's described in the book, just lazily parrying. But right here, he's moving really fast. It's odd and certain. Right there, he could have killed him, but he just knocked him off. Slowly walks over him, watches him.
Probably because they're like, the Night King's like, batter him up a little bit, beat him and batten him up a little bit. We'll deal with him later. Like he's meant for something later on, maybe.
Well, there's a big deal made with the blood, especially in the books. It makes me wonder if they can smell what's in your blood. And he can smell John. But also it could be just that's Bran and he knows who the hell John is. Or the Night King is a green seer / something like the Three-Eyed Raven, and he could just see it in the future and in the past and knows what he has to do. And already knew that he was going to have to sacrifice that one. I don't know. It's hard to say. It gets you such in a mind loop. But go ahead.
Yeah.
For a ramble on about nothing.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because John obviously hasn't died from the Night King yet. So it's kind of hard to tell. Plus maybe it's like that weird thing of like the Night King wants to play the long game and he wants to keep John alive, just so he has, like, what is it, like those things that people do, like they just want to kind of antagonize somebody so that they can do more work, just so he can win in the end. Maybe it's like I'll work you to the bone, and then I'll just reap the benefits from it. It's like, yeah, so you have, say, 6,000 people in there.
It's
Sure.
almost as you do.
Right.
It's almost as if he's giving John a chance as well.
Mm. Like, I'll
Get his shit together. I don't know.
yeah, it's like, here, you can do all of this stuff, and then if you don't do it right, I'll collect all of these people, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly in this, though. It's like, you can understand what I'm saying, though. It's like, I'll move you forward just so you can work some stuff, and then I'll come in at the end and take it all away, kind of thing. Maybe is what.
Yeah, just showing one hand and then playing another later. Fear cuts deeper than swords, as Arya always says, and this is definite fear tactic. Night King using smart things, being a little smarty pants, and then we have the kids come up and
Kill.
she just can't bring herself to.
Sorry.
She just can't bring herself to. Carsey just can't bring herself to fight back against undead children, which at least her children got safe. I know at first people have thought that, like, was one of those her kids? No, I just guess that the heartbreak of children being undead like that just overtook her, which I can see happening for sure.
Yeah. I guess. Like, I think, and I guess at the same token, it's so we have a named character that's died there. Because all the people that Johns went with didn't die, so they, I guess, had to have a named casualty that died there.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then Ed's like, after the dragon glass, we gotta go. And John's like, fine. And they go, and we get 1-1 with his torch. After chasing after John, Ed, and Tormund before they run to the boat. So this is
You would think a giant could run faster than three little dudes just from leg strap. Whatever, he's carrying a giant log. It's a pretty cool scene. Don't know how much I could talk about it.
we
can get to
the end.
kind of the end, and Giant just basically walks out to the boats. I want to know which one of those boats actually carried him, because he's probably like the max limit of weight. He'd have to just lay down on the deck, and no one else could be on the boat except the captain and maybe some people to run it. Besides that, John gets locked eyes with the Night King, and at this point, John knows that he gets to stare into the face of the enemy. Mm-hmm. He's seen it before, but he knows that the Night King is more than just an undead creature, that it has conscience, that it has thought, that it's planning shit out. And then the whole "rise, my children," and the dead awake, is it really lets you know the extreme nature of the situation that these people are under. And it's not like all of human extinction, what people think about it. It's just like the top 2/3 of Westeros.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks the world's ending, but it's not, honestly, when you think about it, which is weird.
Yeah, no, it's not. But yeah, John sees the Night King for the first time, and it's just that whole thing, and then the ability that he's able to rise all the people who were just alive terrifies that, because it's like this. John's like, this isn't supposed to happen, but it happens anyway. So now that we've reached the end of Hardhome, what would you rank it? And any final thoughts, if you have any?
Ooh, I liked Hardhome. we're gonna go back up to a 9. You know, like my man Miguel Sapochnik, We'll go 9 Night King icicles, and you read into that whatever you will.
9.
I think it's just a really fun episode. More than the action, you have the suspense, you have the drama. Even with no words, it's not just showing you visuals. You're getting the feel of the episode, which I could say for the last couple of episodes were lacking a little bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. How about you, Sasa?
Yeah, I'd give this episode 9.25 Hardhome heartaches. And or you could say 9.25 Hardhome headaches, because with so much whacking that's going on and falling to the ground.
Hashtag praising.
That happens. So, if you want, you can tell the people at home where to find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Johnny Be Crazy, at Johnny Be Crazy on Instagram, at Johnny Bragg on Facebook, at Johnny Be Crazy capital JBC on Twitter, at the Cylon Johns channel. Links will be in the description. Also, Thursday coming up, Jon Snow character breakdown or whatever. I'll think of some snazzy name. Just be there. We're talking about Jon Snow, everybody's favorite character to love to hate or hate to love. You know, he's either sappy and too brooding, or you just love that booty. So come on and let's talk about Jon Snow. It'll be fun. We'll have Pure Hex on and Mackenzie L. Burns, and then we got the butt stream coming up, and just all kinds of fun stuff coming up on mine, Mackenzie's channel, the Cylon Johns. Go check out John St. Baptise for sure. Who else am I forgetting? I don't know.
So many.
Yeah, so many friends out there. We love you all. We love you all. Thank you so much for having me on, Sasa.
No problem at all. Yes, so we should be doing Jon Snow on your channel, but you can find me here on my channel, where tomorrow we should be doing we'll be doing a episode. At this point, it's hard to tell exactly which one we're doing, but we're doing a episode of Game of Thrones live, and it'll be awesome. And other than that, you can find me also on Johnny's channel and on Cylon Johns, and everything that comes in between is in the descriptions below. And we'll be talking season 5, episode 9, The Dance of Dragons, which is the episode that I covered on the podcast that drinks and knows things. They will be obviously linked in the description, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.